9 points from 9 after that indifferent run. What's changed in the last few weeks, do you think, for Tottenham?
No, I think the result and the atmosphere has changed big time because obviously before the last 3 games we had a couple bit down changing room because of the result. Obviously now we won the 3 in a row, 9 points in probably in 2 weeks, so it's changing massively. I think the mood and then the players are really happy to win those kind of games, and obviously now looking forward to another coming the games.
And Gareth Bale's obviously been a big part of that in recent weeks. What kind of difference has that made to have a player of that standard performing the way he has?
Everyone knows what Gaz can and what he can bring to the team, and obviously I think he deserved that credit because he was working so hard, he was preparing so well, and now he's getting play times, and he get confidence back, score goals, and playing for the teams. And I think that's the most important. I think I'm really happy for him that he's enjoying playing football because he's born play football. You know, when you see that his quality, I think just incredible, and I'm really happy for him.
And Sonia, I just wonder, an awful lot of talk about you and Harry. When he's there as well, does it take a little bit of pressure off you and Harry, create more space for you? They've got 3 to worry about instead of 2?
As attacking players, we always try to find even difficultness, and I think with Gareth, I think we have another option to have more space or more great chances. Obviously, Gareth is a different type of player of them, me and H. I think every single player has a different style. So if Gareth keep his form like this, I think it's a massive boost for us.
Last weekend, you provided another goal for Harry, and I don't know if you know, but that broke the Premier League record of assists held by Alan Shearer and Chris Sutton of Blackburn. I mean, that is some going, because that had stood for a long time. Yeah,
I think it's a massive achievement. Obviously, we were looking for it because I think we were tie score with the record for a long time, and then me and H was talking about, we have to keep just break the records, and I'm very happy that we break the record, and I hope we have many games to go, and then I hope many more to come, and I hope it's not a finish.
Could also say you've played in those special games that are the North London derby that is up and coming this weekend. How do you describe that fixture? You've been at Tottenham plenty of seasons now.
Yeah, it's something special also for the players, but also it's a massive for the fans. And I still remember when we played this season against them, the fans were back. I think it was 2000 or something, and it was just a great feeling always playing against them, and I hope that we can get a win against them.
He's such a likeable character, and I think everybody will be wishing him and Harry Kane well, apart maybe from Sutton and Shearer themselves as they go in search of their record.
Yeah, they're sure to overtake. Telepathic almost, the link up between Kane and Son. Well, it has been, but now there's someone else in the equation, and I think at the moment, on recent evidence, Sonny's nose has been put out. He's without a goal in 5. Yeah. That doesn't happen to him too often. It's happened to him twice this season. But he's a great player, fantastic professional, great to have around the dressing room. The lads talk very highly of him. His work rate is second to none. His ability is fantastic. Just a dream for a manager and a dream for a teammate.
Well, you talk about his work rate. He was talking about Gareth Bale's work rate and the effort that he's put in. And I think there were a couple of raised eyebrows. First of all, when he just came to Tottenham, and then it was, he's carrying an injury. And is he going to get there? Is he going to get there? And that question threatened to become a bit overwhelming until recent weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite similar to the regards to when he first came to Spurs as a youngster, because he first came and he struggled a little bit for his first couple of seasons. But obviously, you've got to be quite clever about it. It was under no illusions that he was going to come back and be the Gareth Bale that we remember before he left. But the fact that he's getting his energy levels back, he looks like he's enjoying his football again. Do you know what I mean? He's got a smile on his face. I mean, this goal here is quality. He don't lose that. But I think it was just his all-round kind of game. Do you know what I mean? Getting up and down, his work rate. He looks hungry again. I think that is key. I mean, I think you can have all the quality in the world. If you lose that hunger, then it all goes. But he looks hungry now. And for Spurs, having Son, Kane and Bale, and especially Bale in this type of form, listen, he's still one of the very, very best.
And the thing is, it might be, and it is, a while since he was a Tottenham player and playing at that level for Tottenham. But it's not that long since he was doing it for Real Madrid, even though it kind of tailed off towards the end. But it tailed off for everybody at Real Madrid towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the last big moment really was Bale's bicycle kick in the Champions League final, which is 2 years ago. It
feels like forever, doesn't it?
I know, yeah. Well, interestingly, I mean, the last time Spurs actually went to Arsenal, Emery was the manager, Pochettino was the manager. I don't think the COVID virus existed. There was fans. Yeah. Like it's that long since there's actually been a North London derby at the Emirates, and so much has changed since. And now, in that time, I suppose, and in the last month really, Bale is suddenly back to something like the Bale we'd associate with, that we know he can be.
But it's been interesting watching just the way he carries himself on the pitch. You know, he came in at the beginning, and even in the interviews, he was more low key than maybe I think people expected. But on the pitch, it's even the celebrations with his teammates.
Well, he started to do that. Yeah, he's happier now, but he wants to play like every footballer. You know, Gareth thinks he's been fit for a long time. He hasn't had the run of games. You know, been played in the Europa League, Carabao Cup games, some FA Cup games against Wickham. But he wants to play in the real deal, which is the Premier League. And I think getting a run of games in that is going to help his fitness and help his teammates get used to him. And I think he's really appreciating the two guys behind you, Kelly, Son and Kane. The assists, what they're giving him at the moment has been fantastic. You know, he's arguably playing with better players now than his first stint at Tottenham.
Yeah.
I mean, just on that, actually, after Spurs got beaten by Chelsea at home, I think it was, Mourinho was asked about Bale and why he didn't use him, and he gave a really cryptic comment saying, he spoke about it very cryptically, as if he was kind of hinting almost there was more to it, or just wouldn't clarify a few things, and then kind of said that I can't give Gareth the football he needs to get back. Whereas now, obviously, we've seen with only a few games, Bale is just, I mean, is it as simple as that?
Yeah, you just need a rhythm, but I think we've got a whole judgment on him. I think we don't want to get too carried away. We can only judge on what we see, and it's very impressive. They played Burnley, they played Fulham, who performed very well. We talked about their uplifting form, and Crystal Palace, you know, North London derby, big game. See if you can do it in a North London derby, then you really are back. And in a minute, if he continues to form and he continues it toward the end of the season, then you'll leave. You might have to buy him.
But is that a realistic prospect?
I think he'll almost be forced to. If he can perform and take them where they need to be. Let's paint a picture. I think they're favourites to win Europa League. In my eyes, I think because of the Mourinho factor, I think they can win the Europa League. They win the Europa League, they're in the Champions League next year. I think that makes the difference to whether Gareth Bale is there or whether he's not, because of the finances what the football club will have. Will they finish in the top four? Absolutely got an opportunity to finish in the top four. That is going to be the harder fight. I think it's possibly easier for them to beat, Man United are the favourites to win Europa League. I think it's easier for them to beat Man United and the opposition, what they've got in Europa League, and qualify for the Champions League next year by winning Europa League. What everyone wants at Tottenham, to lift the trophy. They're in the Carabao Cup final. I just think it's key. Champions League football next year, possibly Gareth Bale. No Champions League football, no chance.
Just in terms of that relationship that Tim was talking about, you have Kane and Son with that partnership, that understanding, almost telepathic understanding, as you said. And then suddenly someone else muscles in. Someone else muscles in on the territory. And you go, well, yeah, so you say Gooseberry, it's a little bit like, you know the meme with the guy looking over his shoulder? It's a bit like Harry Kane suddenly, there's Son, and I'm like, oh, got Gareth Bale to play alongside me.
They're giving him a cream egg.
But it just, you know, they are quite delicate balances. You'll know better than anyone. They are quite delicate balances, and there will be people whose noses will be put out of joint, or who might conversely react and be spurred on to even greater heights.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it happened to me at Aston Villa with Christian. Benteke came in. Obviously, I was scoring the goals. He comes in. I don't play anymore. And for Son as well, usually when Harry Kane's been injured, he has always stepped up. Obviously, Gareth Bale's comes in, but top players will kind of complement each other. And now Son's not scoring goals. He will come again. start scoring his goals because he's a top player. But I think he's just going for one of them periods where it's all about Bale at the minute. Bale and Kane, they've got this connection going on at the minute. So now when Harry Kane gets the ball, he's looking up. But it all swings around. Like, some will come to the forefront again. But if you can somehow find Son firing, Kane firing, and Bale firing, then they've got an unbelievable chance of not only winning the Europa and getting in the top 4, beating Manchester City, by the way, as well, because they've played against. The last time they played Manchester City completely dominated and beat them. But Gareth Bale wasn't the Gareth Bale that we're seeing today. And with the more games that go on until that cup final's been played, more and more confidence, momentum's growing. I mean, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
I mean, look at the squad of players they got in offensive areas. I mean, Lucas Moura's been outstanding in the last few games. You know, he's really kind of played that number 10 role. He's thrusting forward, he's triggering the press. Everyone's following him in behind. Dele, previous to that, he dipped his toe in the water. Everyone thought Dele's back, but now he can't get a look in because Moura's so good. Lamela comes on, he makes a difference. Defensively, they're still weak, in my opinion. I think the goalkeeper's not had the best season, Hugo Lloris, and I think defensively, they've still got weaknesses there. I think Reggie on
changing, don't they?
Yeah, that doesn't help. You know, we talked about having a rhythm of games. Certainly, I mean, Lloris would tell you he's a very experienced World Cup winning goalkeeper. He would want to, and the same too, if possible. Everyone would want that in an ideal world.
Is that not a bit of a shift with Spurs as well? I mean, it felt like for a lot of the season and for a lot of that bad run, it felt like Mourinho, because he's naturally defence based, he was basically building the team on the back line, even though the back line, in terms of quality, is nowhere near the level of the attackers he had. And it makes much more sense to front load the team. And now we're seeing that a little bit more.
Possibly, but it'd be interesting. It's all right to front load the team against the teams I already mentioned at the bottom. It's difficult when you're front loading in North London derby against Arsenal or on the up. Depends how Arsenal take to this. I think their priority lies with the Europa League. Now, this game is wedged between the two. I think Tottenham are fighting on both fronts. I don't think Arsenal can qualify for the Champions League next year by their league position. So I think they'll prioritise Europa League. I'm not sure what team they will put out, but it's still a North London derby. And I think when they're playing teams like, let's take, for instance, the Carabao Cup final against Man City. If he goes on the front foot and he plays the players what we're talking about, can they win the football match? I think it gives them more chance. I think if they try and play pragmatic, sit back, I just think they're waiting to get beat.
Yeah.
There are echoes in Jose Mourinho's time at Manchester United this season when they're going for the Europa League. Also, he didn't really, load everything onto the Europa League until he felt like top 4 had sort of realistically gone.
Which is about March, yeah. I remember they drew to Bournemouth at home. And then he kind of shifted. And they got a bit of a favourable run in the Europa League that year, without winning to diminish it, but like Celta Vigo.
Maybe you have to. Maybe that's...
Ajax. This season, the Europa League does feel a lot stronger, illustrated by the fact it could well be United, Arsenal and Spurs all in the last 4.
Yeah, that is possible. But you saw we've kind of got an idea of where Jose Mourinho's priorities will be, because he won't want to let anything slip, as you said.
No, why would he? I mean, if he wins the Carabao Cup, I mean, Daniel Levy won't be jumping around doing handstands, because minimum requirement for him is bringing Jose Mourinho in and finishing the Champions League spot in his league position. Now, the maximum Jose could do for me, and he ticks both boxes, and the fans will love him, the players will stay at the football club, because there will be a lot looking to leave if they do not play Champions League next year, is to win Europa League. That ticks all the boxes. You win Europa League, you qualify for the Champions League. Don't matter where you finish in the league position. That, for me, is the holy grail. Yeah. Can he achieve it? Absolutely. With that squad of players, absolutely. He's got better chance, in my opinion, with the competition in the Premier League at the top 4 at the moment, and they're in touching distance up there. I think you'd have to say, obviously, Man City, Man United, Leicester, who have got a little cushion there, but I think Leicester are the team they're going to have to pick out of there. Chelsea, for me, with the way they're playing under Thomas Tuchel, look like they're in great form, great squad of players. I think they'll be the favourites to nick top 4. Yeah. But Leicester is the one they're going to need to claw back, in my opinion.
It's how Leicester manage their injuries, isn't it, between now and the end of the season, and whether they can sustain that charge. And even then, look at even if Tottenham were to win their game in hand, put them on 48 points, still 5 points to to Leicester. So it's not, and with the teams in between as well, it starts to look a little bit trickier for them. But in terms of challenging for the Europa League, it's amazing how the story around Spurs has changed from one extreme to the other this season. At one stage, they were top of the Premier League. Everybody's saying, Jose's got this pandemic football nailed. He's absolutely on it. He's got all the players reserving their energy. This is what's going to win the league in this particular season. Then they disappear. They go on a really bad run of form, and it doesn't work. It isn't going to. And now, with Gareth Bale back in form, and everybody's going, tell you what, Tottenham can maybe win the Europa League, and they can qualify for the Champions League through the league as well. Why not?
I mean, listen, they've got a chance of certainly finishing in the top 4. I never really saw them as title contenders, if I'm honest. Even when they were up there, I just never felt they could go on and win it. But the Europa, for sure, and the League Cup, I mean, that's why Daniel Levy made that drastic decision, which was Pochettino, thanks for all you've done, bringing a proven winner in Jose Mourinho, because he prioritises the League Cup and getting trophies in the door. So when you look at the Europa, I think they're not going to be there. I mean, you look at Arsenal, they're going to have to prioritise, because they're going to finish 10th, 11th, which is not good enough. And if they don't win the Europa, I think he's under big trouble. So they're going to prioritise that. But I think Spurs are in a position where I don't think they necessarily have to prioritise anything yet. I think they've got more than enough to get into the top 4 potentially in the league and to win the Europa. They're already in a League Cup final, so it could turn out to be a fantastic season, because people talk about the fans not being happy with the football they were playing, because that was another thing that people would talk about at the start of the season, that they may be where they are in the league, but the football that they were watching was terrible. And if there were supporters in the stadium, it'd be uproar. But the fact that he's managed to turn it around, he's got the best out of Gareth Bale, and they're playing as well. They're in the cup final and in the Europa, got a great chance of getting through to the final. It's real positive for Spurs at the minute, but long may it continue. But I still think there's 1 or 2 more turns yet for Tottenham between now and the end of the season. Yeah,
well, they've had so many already this season that it would just be fitting if there were more between now and the end of the season. The Carabao Cup in all of this, as you were saying, it's not the one that's going to have Daniel Levy turning cartwheels with joy. It's not one that brings a lot of money into the club, but we know that Jose Mourinho before and during his time at Chelsea has prioritised it as a competition. Pep Guardiola's done that. It's about getting that first trophy and the effect that can have between the cup final and the end of the season. That's slightly different this time because it's been delayed a couple of months.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to achieve that, but
who knows anything?
I mean, yeah, but the fans will be delighted with that. It's been such a long time, but no, he does prioritise trophies. That's what he does, and as a fan, that's what you want, isn't it? You know, you want to go to Wembley and you want your captain to go up them steps and pick up the trophy, and I think they've got every chance to do that. The unfortunate thing is they're playing against Man City, who look like they're a runaway train at the moment. No one can stop, but like I say, they have got the quality in the final third, the firepower what Tottenham have. They can beat anyone on the day. It's how brave Jose is going to go about it. Will that be success? The fans will see it as a minor success. Daniel Levy will not see that as a success. It will be a step upwards. And would he see it as a breeding ground and a platform to then move on? Well, it didn't happen to one day Ramos, did it?
That's exactly it. Like, I mean, just on. I mean, it's always felt like with trophies, and particularly like stuff like the League Cup or Carabao Cup, Mourinho subscribed to the old Brian Clough view that kind of, you know, a trophy is champagne in itself, that it propels you, it changes the team. But Spurs are absolutely the proof of the opposite. Yeah. In that their last 2 trophies in the last 30 years, 2 League Cups, won by George Graham and Ramos.
Yeah,
who are both they're not exactly kind of managerial legends at the club.
For Daniel Levy though, I guess the first trophy being the League Cup, it's kind of validation that he's made the right decision, because obviously by sacking Pochettino, who's absolutely beloved by the supporters, bringing in Jose Mourinho, if he goes and wins a trophy in his first attempt in the League Cup final, I think for himself he'll be like, okay, I've kind of made the right decision, because there's still going to be Spurs fans out there that are questioning that decision.
But I think there will be, he won't be sure, he won't be 100% sure if Jose's the man to take him forward if he just wins a Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
If he was to finish where they are now, 6th or 7th in the league, out of Europe entirely, forget the Champions League, entirely out of the Europa League, then I think he'll be looking at his to change.
Well, particularly as Pochettino went on and won a trophy straight away at PSG. Well, at PSG.
Does that count?
Yeah. I know it's not a particularly prestigious one, but at the point...
We're basically back to the Poch dilemma. I mean, Poch, the amount of times we used to discuss this when we'd go to Pochettino press conferences where he'd basically spell it out, because of the resources of the club, the big trophies for us are the big competitions, are the Premier League and Champions League. We put all resources into that, which is why he effectively kind of set the cups aside. Yeah. And now we're back, and ultimately he did change the profile of the club. Yeah. And getting back in, as Tim said, getting back in the Champions League is much more important.
Miguel, I think he stuck to the plan. The plan was to finish in the Champions League all the time, and he ticked that box.
Yeah.
I think if he's a little bit more selfish, and I think he should have been, I think he would have won a Carabao Cup, certainly.
He got them to a final, though, didn't he?
Should have
Yeah,
got
Chelsea.
2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think Pochettino would have done with a Gareth Bale alongside Son, Moura, Kane? That could have been the difference.
Yeah.
Hypothetical? I know. Jose has got that luxury. I know it's taken his time to give Gareth an opportunity with Son and Kane, but there's still time for that boy who's world class to make a difference.
With you're right. He has been quite cryptic about Gareth Bale at times, Jose Mourinho, and it's felt like with some of the posts on social media that there has been a little bit of tension between them, sort of bubbling away under the surface. None of which is a massive issue if you get performances on the pitch. But if we do see the best of Gareth Bale, if this is a sustained upturn for him, has Jose managed it well?
You'd have to say he's managed it well, yeah. A lot of people would say if they just miss out, you know what the question's going to be. Why didn't you bring him back earlier? And he will argue he wasn't fit enough, for which Gareth will argue, yes, I was. Give me an opportunity. I don't think Jose rotates fantastically well. And I think he would argue that he hasn't got the quality to be able to do it. But I think they have. And we always criticise Frank Lampard at Chelsea, saying not knowing his best team, he rotates. And you're only having a pop at Frank because he was losing football matches. Thomas Tuchel's rotated more than Frank Lampard, but he's winning games, so it's okay. It's only okay as a manager if you win. Jose knows that, and he's wishing, if they can pick up now, he's timed it brilliantly. The Gareth Bale introduction, we waited till we didn't want him to go in and then break down for 3 weeks. He's timed it perfectly if they manage to win, but they have to win Champions League qualification, no matter how they do it, through the league or for winning Europa League. Carabao Cup is a minor tick in the box, mostly from the fans.
Going to be really interesting to see what happens with those players, including Gareth Bale, who are starting to come back into form. You've got another week of games, then you've got the international break. Some managers saying, well, because of travel restrictions, the players can't possibly go, which you feel would suit the managers just fine if their players weren't going off and playing in international matches. But yeah, Gareth Bale, very much one of those players.